Islam. Islam, Islam. Peace and love to all the Moors, all the sympathizers worldwide. Supposed to have my brother Jahmal on here from Rise of the Moors to do a build. So I'm gonna give him a second to get locked and loaded. Hopefully he still has the time, but nothing too serious. Just see what we can talk about and get into to man, do these works. Be active out here. Share ideas. You know, really look into what some of our biggest problems are as a nation and what some of our best solutions or practices might be as a nation. So I'm going to sit here, get my good brother up in here. Yeah, do requests. All right. He's here. Islam, boy.
Peace.
Yeah.
Sorry I'm late.
Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good, my brother. Shoot, man, you right on time. You're never late, baby.
Yeah. It's probably gonna kick me a few times because I'm blocked from going live. So
that's what I was looking. That's what I was worried. I was like, I wonder if he can still get on today.
nah. So when I was on live with you before, I was in Florida. I was blocked then too. You know what I mean? So when I get blocked, I just hop in other people's lives and it'll allow me on, but it'll kick me a few times. All I gotta do is come back and just invite me again.
All right, cool. Yeah. Will do.
I'm seasoned in the getting blocked game.
Yeah. Hey man, my feelings be hurt. I'll be thinking I'm putting the most maniacal truth out here ever. And I'll never get blocked. I'm like, hold on, man. I need to get my block game up because I ain't coming with it or something. But it's all good, man. But yeah, thanks for coming back in with me, man. And since I did a live with you, man, I'm getting followers, boy. I'm out here.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. That's how it works.
Right. But I'm sad we had to end off on the getting kicked off note last time.
Yeah.
You were going into, and what we were talking about for people who are coming into this or whatever. Last time I was on here with my brother, we were talking about what can we do, because if they took out the prophet, then god dang, is there any hope for us? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As far as what is our abilities to move forward. And then you made a good statement that, hey, look, the prophet was around a bunch of snakes essentially, and he knew it.
Yep.
And you know, now it got me to thinking, what measures or what kind of degrees of action, because I know you have military experience and stuff like that, do they have a protocol or something that you think that we could implement that could keep these kind of people out? Like, how do you keep these people at a minimum at best? You know,
so
yeah.
The Moors aren't gonna like the solution because the dirty Moors do some of those things, right? So in the military, you have something called your security clearance. So your security clearance is basically means the amount of information you're exposed to. So you know how in the 101s it specifies how the divine name of Jesus is strictly reserved for people of the Adam Chamber of the Moorish Nationality of America.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So that's talking about top secret clearance as an example. You know, but the problem is the administrators of this information haven't been honest with finding those who are sincere and ensuring that they continue on with the succession. They've been holding on to it for power purposes and just putting their boys on. You know what I mean? So, but the principle is the same way that the Secret Service has, you know, they have their secret clearances as far as which Secret Service members can actually get close to the president. You know, so like as an example, the Secret Service members who are outside at the gate, don't have the same clearance as the Secret Service members who are at the front door, and then the ones at the front door don't have the same security clearance as the Secret Service members who are next to the president on a daily basis.
Okay.
So there's 3 levels of protection, and it all has to do with information. You know, so the Secret Service members at the gate don't know where the president's going to be, but the Secret Service members that are close to the president know. You know what I mean? And then the Secret Service members at the door, they just know when he's coming and going. They don't know where he's going to be. You know what I mean? So, like, just, you know, so, and that only comes with nationality, because when you declare your nationality, you're supposed to have the principles of nationalism, which is where you get your allegiance. So we're supposed to have allegiance to each other to the point where we're willing to sacrifice the utmost of our very life to protect the prophet and the movement, which would include all the, you know, people like Tariq Bey and other trustworthy Moors who we're supposed to be protecting to make sure that people can't just touch them. You know, that's what nations do.
Right,
and we're just not following certain national principles because, you know, we're afraid or we lack the training.
Well, it makes me think of, like, one possible solution is the obvious, one of the obvious things that I think people miss out on.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. The baby doo-dooed on me. Hold on.
Go ahead, man. Yeah. Go ahead. Been there, done that. Still doing it. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love, y'all. Let Jahmal, you know how it is. Those of y'all with children. I've been pooped on and peed on, spit on in my mouth.
So I just gotta change my shorts. So
yeah, go ahead.
I'll be right back.
Okay. You know, now we're getting into what and brothers, sisters out here, Islam, Mark, y'all, what would be your idea? Why is this movement infiltrated with and so easily infiltrated by so-called, you know, dirty Moors and this kind of thing? What kind of things do you think that we could implement as a nation to, I mean, it's kind of like a sincerity check. How do you check somebody's heart? How do you check the motive of somebody who is wearing a turban or a fez or saying, hey, I'm an L or a Bey, right? Like, what do you do with that? Because how many of us have had friends that backstabbed us? How many of us have family members that backstabbed us? So it's like we can't even get those people figured out half the dang time. We got to brainstorm and we got to come up with solutions to make sure that the sincere hearts know how to organize, unite, and practice a form of let's say inclusion that or exclusion, I'm sorry, that keeps certain people out of our affairs. All right. You know, they you know, the prophet knew he was around a bunch of snakes, not serpents, snakes. A bunch of people slithering through the grass. What do we got to do different or take this to the next level to keep those sincere hearts together and keep those unsincere hearts out of our stuff? It says your gut starts to kick in. It's a feeling you get. And, you know what I'm saying? I'm definitely down with that. It's just the thing is, how do we all collectively feel that? Some people, like, say you might have a sincere heart, right? And you real about this. But let's just say you might not have done the spiritual attunements or have a certain sensitivity that another brother or sister might have. And so you might not see about a brother like another brother or sister does. They might be like, nah, that dude right there, bro, nah. It's a feeling. And you might be like, or other person might be like, nah, I think he all good, man. Matter of fact, I was short, man. He loaned me some money, he, showed and proved to me on certain situations that he was real, which we know an agent knows to do. An agent will, do whatever to be cool and be down with the movement. I think all of us probably seen Judas and the Black Messiah or whatever, or if that's what the name of it was. They'll do and they'll go above and beyond. So you dang near, it's hard to question their motive when they'll do more than almost anybody on the team. You're like, dang, this dude putting in work. So how you gonna call this person unsincere? You know what I'm saying? And so when Jahmal gets back, I'm going to attempt to pick his brain a little bit, and we can see about some solutions, and I'm going to offer some that I think are the kind of things that you do to keep things and people strong. All right. If I could, I would kind of say one of those solutions that I feel like has some footing, and it gets back to our ancestral ways, is that we really got to start listening to our women a lot more. Because, and I'm not saying that, you know, there aren't so-called dirty Moors that are women. What I'm saying is, women know when you get yourself good, honorable, righteous women who have the proper mindset, they're going to lead this nation back into success. They like take my Empress. She don't play no games. Nobody can really get around me. If she peeps them out, she gonna tell me, and she's gonna be very, very wary of this person until they prove other words. And that's just how it is. There's no way in the world I can prove to her. I've done this a million times. I'm like, no, man, he's cool. And she's like, nah. And at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what, baby, you're right. Because 9 times out of 10, those situations, well, dang near 10 times out of 10, it's turned out that she was right. And then some snaky stuff happened. So when we get these righteous
like
women
months
really
in
activated,
advance, sometimes years in advance.
Yeah, oh, for sure. The women know. And I think what the problem is a lot with this movement is that the men are vanguarding, as we, you know, when you see the prophet lifting the woman out of the water and all that. But once you get one that's lifted out of the water, you do your CPR and she spits out the water and she's up and at them again, you better take heed of what that woman is trying to tell you. And she's going to lead, and she's going to be able to have spiritual discernment about the people that you bring around. That's one thing that I know for sure. Another thing that...
So, hold on, let me pause you real fast.
Go ahead.
If Moors don't think that the people within the Secret Service, the women that are involved, are doing that, you are highly mistaken.
Yeah. Yep.
Because that's their, you know, like how Taj talks about the Eastern Stars and how like, or the Daughters of the American Revolution, like that's their job.
Yeah.
They're the soothsayers. They're the prophets. They see what's coming.
Yeah.
Just like our women see, like, don't trust this Moor, or, you know, only trust them to this extent, or be aware of this Moor's characteristics this way. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, that's what Juju does to me all the, you know, with me and for me all the time. So I agree 100% with what you're saying.
Yes, and that is quintessential. I'm so thankful for that. That's how I know Allah's guiding me in this, because man, He gave me a woman that, you know, does that for me. So that's very important. I would also like to say that, and I know this has been done on a level, but let's say with the MSTA, what a lot of people are forgetting about the MSTA is that it was set up like those things you were talking about. Hey, you didn't get to know the name of Jesus until you're in a jet chamber type of thing or whatever, or a sheik, or, you know, however it goes. But the bottom line is that they set it up like in a Cometan mystery system. All right. So you have to prove before me competency. And I think the best way to prove a certain type of competency, to see that a heart is sincere, is test them on spiritual matters. Because if I test you on, like, let's say law, or if I test you on a certain type of curriculum that's based like fact based, you might be able to get the answers just based on study. You might be able to, even if you're a infiltrator, you could kind of pick up on it. You might be able to study. You might get the cheat code. I don't know. But let's just say if we come to you on a depth level and we're dealing with spiritual gnosis, and your vibration's off when you're giving us those answers or that understanding, I think it would be a good at least indicator to say, hey, you might not have a certain type of spiritual connection or a certain type of understanding that might make you susceptible to, let's say, infiltration, agent activity, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. But, you know, some type of competency test that deals with, are you grasping what the prophet brought? Are you grasping what this is about? And when you have a panel of like grand sheiks and stuff like yourself, and would have a testing, some kind of rite of passage situation for people who are getting into the situation, you know, That would be a good way. And even if you have to let them down, like I said, hey, it's not that we're saying you're agent. We're saying that we're not sensing
You didn't pass the
a certain
test.
competency or a spiritual connection. If you gain it, come back, and then we'll reevaluate you.
Can I comment on that? One thing is that's what the monks do. The monks will test you, and if you don't pass, they say you have to wait another 15 years before you can take the test again. And they just say you didn't pass. You know what I mean? So keep studying. And then in the mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East, the lesson on sincerity, if I'm recalling correctly, while Jesus was in one of the chambers, one of the 7 degrees of learning, one of the masters came in and was basically spreading propaganda and slander to Jesus to test him, to see if he would then take that information and just spread it without speaking to the other person who allegedly said what he said. And since Jesus was firm on his spiritual principles, he passed that degree and earned the degree of sincerity.
Yes.
So like everything you're saying is public information as far as like Moors have access to this. It's in the mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East. That's exactly what that entire book is about.
Great book. I read that book about 2-3 times, man, like the Quran.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And you're spot on the head right there. For those of you who are familiar with Brother Jahmal's talking about is when Jesus had to get tested and he was in the chamber and they put him in there and basically he had to fast, and a guy came to him saying, hey, everybody's out to get you. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, come with me. And he was like, hey, that's hearsay. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm here until I'll face whatever they got. If it's that, because I'm not going to just take your word and think they're doing evil to me.
Yeah.
And so right there, he passed the test of sincerity because he's like, I'm not going to get caught up in the gossip and that's a good point, because a lot of the Moors in the MSTA in the beginning days, I just get that feeling that all it took was a whole bunch of those kind of people.
Yeah.
You know, this ain't really the prophet. You know what I'm saying? Hey, this guy is Farad Muhammad. You know, I don't know, whatever. And then so now it just caused that whole.
And that's one of the FBI's plans. Like in the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, there's a scene when Fred Hampton went to speak to the Crowns, and the scene before he went there, it was the FBI typing up a letter as if Fred Hampton called, you know, the leader of the Crowns or whatever they were called, a jive turkey or whatever the lingo was at the time. You know what I mean? Like
about a jive turkey in the 70s, baby.
whatever it is that they said, and Fred Hampton picked up on it, like, we don't even talk like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So like, and that's a perfect example of them not only admitting in movies, but in the reports from the Senate committee hearings that was publicized, but the people were so busy focusing on the Muhammad Ali fights, they didn't see when Congress was admitting that, you know, this is what we're doing to your people. They admitted that this is exactly what they do. They spread false information, and they specifically specify how they did it multiple times against Jeff Fort and the Black Panther Party to try to get them to fight each other.
Oh,
so that's exactly how the FBI was able to get dirty Moors to just spread hearsay. And then since the Moors weren't honoring the teachings of the Prophet of hearsay evidence is inadmissible, which is exactly what Jesus said, right? We were able to get destroyed because our minds were weak. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like if someone just starts spreading that I'm spreading rumors about you, the first thing you're going to do is contact me because we're already in contact with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Cujo. There was a situation where a few years ago I was going to fly him out here for him to do a class, and there was like this rumor that he was going to get arrested at the airport or some shit like that, and I had something.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and the first thing I did was I reached out to him like, hey, bro, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, he still ended up making the decision for his safety to not physically come, which is fine.
Yeah.
But, like, things like that is what could cause it. They were trying to cause a divide between me and him. But since we're both not stupid, you know what I mean? Since we're both sincere in this movement, it didn't work. All it did was prevent him from physically coming that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, straight up. I remember that. That's the Jamal Flicks days.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was watching. Now I got to ask you, brother, you know, those are kind of my, some of my ideas, you know what I mean? Because when I think about this movement, I feel like Moors are so in a rush to like grab for sticks. Sometimes they like They want to like know some law and stuff like this, and they want to like get out here and like say this law. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. You want to use your birthright and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, don't forget, this is not just about law. This is not just about
going
I
to
guess
their
how can I
courts.
say it? A whole bunch of turban wearing and stuff like that and fezzes. All right,
Yeah,
we got to worry about our community as a whole. So when we're coming up with solutions to keep unsincere hearts out, what are some of your ideas or some of the best practices that you could help us, for us who are trying to start something in our own community, because we know the COINTEL program is heavy and they try to mess with you, but at the same time, they really can't mess with you. So they just kind of like do this thing. What would you implement, or what would you suggest that somebody implement in their personal group? They're trying to keep certain situations to a minimum.
Again, they're not going to like you because Dirty Moors implement this principle, but it's not their principle. It's a principle of nature. So we have to be able to distinguish between the people that we're just giving information to and the people that we want in our close circle as far as putting them into positions within our organization. So we have to first learn that difference. Once we learn that difference, then we're going to be able to do things like when I talked about earlier, the security clearance, do things like give certain information to certain people under the pretext or precursor of them knowing this is adept chamber information only or this is private information only. But that can only be developed over time with, as an example, me and my organization. That's only going to be developed over time with the Moors that I've been dealing with. And I've done things in the past whereas, I told one Moor something and I wanted to see if they told another Moor. So then I would ask, certain questions about certain topics to try to get information out of a certain individual to see if one Moor told another Moor the thing I told them that was top secret. But we have, we as the leaders have to have the mental fortitude to know that, because we're so inclined to just talk. We don't, a lot of us don't have the mental fortitude to just shut up.
Yeah, that's true. Because we want to help. You want to teach. You want people to get this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're sincere. You're like, I have no secrets in a certain type of sense.
Yeah, but the prophet said every man has to have a secret.
Yeah.
So whether that be your finances is a secret or, plans you have, like there's a bunch of plans that are already in motion that the Rise of the Moors is doing that nobody knows about except for specific people doing the task. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And and once it unfolds to its full potential, then people will say, how the hell did this happen? You know what I'm saying? That's the secret, but it's not really a secret. It just means few people know.
Oh yeah. You definitely might need to be, and I'm just throwing an earbug out there, getting yourself some levels of secrecy or sacredness, if you will, and certain doors for certain people. You know what I mean? Certain people got to know where the back door is, and the layout of the situation over other people for sure.
And that's told in the Bible. Don't cast your pearls to swine.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep. That's in the Moorish Holy
It's
Quran.
the same thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. It's just, a new Moor coming to your attention who you know nothing about. You're not going to tell them a strategy that you have in an active lawsuit because you don't know if they're going to just tell anybody, or you don't know their ability to hold information where they could get pulled over for driving without a license and they're scared, and the FBI or the police say, well, all you got to do is tell me or give me the layout of Jamal's house or give me the layout of whatever, and we'll just let you go. And then you don't know how weak that person's mind is and how they are, and they're probably just genuinely scared, and then that turns them into an agent. It doesn't even have to necessarily be they're willing to just give information. It could be something like that. Like with Rashad. When Rashad was in jail, the guards said, hey, you have a visitor from I think they said a lawyer wants to talk to you or whatever. And when they took him to the room, it was the FBI asking him about me. You know what I'm saying? So there's real life situations going on that will really tell you who a person is.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And a brother said earlier, I don't know if I think you were changing your shorts, but he said it's just that gut feeling And I told him, I said, yeah, it's some of that, but in the long run, it's going to take, more testing, more whatever. But yes, that gut feeling, I always trust that gut. And I mean, I know I can tell things about some people when I shake their hand, or not even shake their hand, when I press their hand, because I try not to shake them, because that's a whole different thing. But when I press somebody's hand and they got them wet, slimy hands, and they're kind of shaky and nervous, I'm like, oh no, I don't know, brother. you kind of slimy. You got that snake thing going on. You know what I mean? But it really does take that spiritual discernment and those kind of things. And I hope that we also understand that it takes focusing on the right things. Like, you'll bring out the sincere hearts if you are trying to do sincere things
If you're
that
sincere.
are helping people. Exactly. So, it's one thing if I go, I'm trying to start a national movement and all this, but it's already been started. So
Exactly.
for one, I'm not trying to start no national movement. This is the Moorish Divine National Movement. It's been started by our prophet a long time ago. So what we got to do now is we got to
continue his work.
What'd you say?
I said continue his work.
Continue his work. Start focusing on how you build the community up. Where are the Moors who are talking about health, nutrition, and wellness? You know what I'm saying? Where are the Moors who are talking about family development services and things to, what about our traumas? Where are we going to say, hey, look, man, this is the place, or, bro, like my wife, she's a psychologist, all right? She got a degree from Purdue. So it's like us people, we're dealing with a lot of traumatic events that have happened to us in the Black, Negro, color state. Where can we go and who can we talk to figure out some of these things, to maybe get some of this stuff off our chest? Some people might need that. Mental health, mental illness is rampant in our community. So before, somebody wants to go to the high level, it's like, dude, are you dealing with, what Uncle Jeffrey did when you were, a child? Because you're still dealing with that. A lot of us are still dealing with those things, and we're not realizing how that's clouding, just our perception and our judgment. And in the old world, they would have called them demons, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Cultural and personal development kind of tactics. Recreation and wellness, as far as like exercise regimens for Moors. Like, I like what you were doing when you guys were lifting, the weights and doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we're still doing it. It's just off camera now.
Yeah, off camera. So what about, our youth getting out here and learning how to properly lift weights, strength and wellness training, you know what I'm saying? Yoga activities, things like, it doesn't take, everybody doesn't have to be a Jahmal. Some of y'all can get out in the community, put your turban and fez on, and if you're good at yoga or qigong exercises, then, man, get some children out there and get some people out there, and then you'll be able to have natural conversations that come about nationality and all this kind of stuff with our people, while you're teaching them a valuable skill or a practice. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I was going to add how if we had Moors that physically lived in the same or domiciled in the same area, it would be easier to encourage them to do that, because there's something called positive peer pressure. So as an example, let's say there's 20 Moorish families out here, and after, before every Sunday Quran study class, or after every Sunday Quran study class, we do jujitsu together. Like, the other half of the males that are there are probably going to see that and want to be part of that, just because we're doing it.
Yes.
Which is why I like to record a lot of things, to inspire people to do things or inspire new ideas that they didn't have before.
Right.
And I like to use Juju as an example, because she's the, even though in the Quran it says to give charity, right?
Yeah.
Juju was the person that got me to actually, she coordinated the first event as far as us doing the giveaway. And then I've coordinated like the one in the Bronx as an example. Yeah. But like, she encouraged me to do that, and I felt amazing afterwards. Even though the prophet gave us told us to do it, it just took her to basically get me to follow her lead in order for it to happen. So I documented it to maybe inspire other Moors to do the same thing. And then, I did it in the Bronx with the Moors from the Bronx, and then I seen a few days ago that they did their own giveaway. Like, that's exactly why I recorded it the first time, to show people, like, this is easy to do.
Yes.
Speak to your neighbors, speak to your family members. They have shoes they don't want, they have clothes they don't want, they have blankets that they don't want. That a person who's in need is gonna walk by, see that old sweater that your cousin used to wear that no longer wears, put it on and walk away smiling. And I know that for a fact because I've seen it multiple times.
Brother.
That's charity. You know what I mean? That's sincerity. That's the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, not just going to court and fighting Europeans.
Yes, it is. You clicked the vein with me because that's one of the main things that got me. I mean, it charged me up because we did an event like that, and we fed like 100 homeless people and children of the community. You could have. I don't care. You could have gave me any kind of cocaine or crack. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what crack's like, but it couldn't compare to the way I felt.
Yeah. After
I helped and just conversed and got with all those people in the community and gave back and fed these people. It was crazy. It was crazy. Conversations we were having. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it doesn't cost much.
And it didn't cost much, man. At this time I had went like super renegade and I just like left the world behind. We became like studying hermits. We didn't like leave. We just like studied all day. We're like, F everybody. We took the little bit of money we had. We bought a little bit of food. We called up some other people who we knew were like sincere about just helping people. And we all came together, man. We made it happen. It was one of the best days of my life. And I tell people that all the time. One of the best days of my life, man. So we appreciate brothers like you, man, for doing that kind of stuff.
You too, because you're doing it too.
Man, I'm trying to just always find the new avenue and this is where my wife comes in, because I want to help people so bad, but she helps me stay level-headed in the meantime, because we know there's certain type of people out here. But man, that feeling is like a high you chase again. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So that's why I put myself out there, man, and I appreciate that. And it's gonna take brothers like us to just keep doing what we're doing. No fear. We know FBI and all this kind of stuff, and I know there's some brothers who probably might be afraid to get on here with you because they think you're some kind of FBI magnet or something.
Yeah, but like the thing is, like, I'm not doing anything wrong.
Exactly.
So they literally have to fabricate something or like flip somebody that, to do something crazy in the name of, well, Jahmal told me to do it. And that's like their only way in. Other than that, like, I don't do nothing. I stay home with my guns.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, my guns are home 99% of the time.
Yeah.
So like, what crimes can I commit in my own house?
Yeah.
Like, none. Because one, I'm not a woman beater because I was raised by a woman, and I have two sisters. So, and I have a daughter. So that's out of the window.
Yeah, that's out of the question.
So what, I'm going to steal from myself?
Yeah. Yeah. You might catch your hand in the cookie jar at midnight. That might get you a 5 to 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But like, as far as going back to, like the herbalist and the doctors and the spiritual counselors, like we absolutely need that. And having a community of Moors will encourage that, because there's so many Moors that do so many different things. Like you said, your wife is a psychologist. So imagine if both of y'all and of course your family lived in the same state as us, and the amount of Moors that come visit me, like, she would always have someone to talk to as far as, helping Moors in their mindset, you know what I mean? Because a lot of Moors do get, we all go through some type of childhood trauma. It doesn't necessarily have to be abuse or sexual abuse. It could be something as simple as, like, I bring this up, and this is the first time I brought this up publicly, but I remember when I was younger talking to my dad, I used to ask him, like, can you go fishing with me, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times he would say no because he's tired. And, I'm not like super, super damaged or super, super like spiteful towards my dad or anything like that. But like, that's a childhood thing that I remember that hurt me. And then I remember reading the Rex 84 plan, how their mission is to occupationally orphan the children, which is exactly what my dad was telling me. That I'm basically an orphan, although my dad took care of me, my mom took care of me, It wasn't like I was out in the streets. I'm just using that as an example of how, when they say occupationally orphan the children, that's exactly what they're talking about. Yeah,
job over family life.
Exactly. And make it so, like, they're going to choose their job over their family because they think their job is providing for their family.
Yep.
because they're putting the mortgage on them, and the light bills and electricity bill and the car notes and this payment and that payment and this payment and that payment. So our parents basically have no energy to be who they want to be for us.
Yes.
That's not his fault. That's Rome's
Yes.
fault. Rome set that up.
Yes.
So my problem isn't with my father. My problem is with Rome. So now, as a father now, I have to ensure that I'm playing with my daughter. When she wants to play with her little rattle thing or whatever, or when she's trying to call to me for attention, I give her that attention. And I have to be conscious of that in the future, because that's going to avoid a similar trauma that I have.
Oh, for sure.
It might not be that I was touched or, I was assaulted or anything like that, but it's still some level of trauma that can be alleviated if we're conscious of it, and having a stronger community, so that way we can relay that to other people. Like, just like you had childhood trauma, I had childhood trauma, and us sharing these stories is going to make it easier for us to let them go. And a community with positive peer pressure can help. That is what uplifting the nation is.
Yes.
That's what uplifting fallen humanity is.
Yes.
It's not just going to court to fight. That's the external stuff. That's the national stuff. That's the political leave my nation alone stuff. But we also have the divine internal healing, knowing our higher and lower self stuff, because our higher and lower self tendencies are going to reflect on our children. My daughter sees when Juju and I have intense conversations, and I make sure that my daughter sees Daddy don't put a hand on Mommy. I make sure my daughter sees Daddy don't call Mommy out of her name. I make sure that my daughter sees when Daddy gets frustrated, Daddy would rather walk away and then come back later. You know what I mean? Not Daddy's punching a wall, Daddy's mom throwing Mommy down the stairs, or Daddy's calling her all types of B words. Nah, that's not what we're doing here. And my dad and my father didn't do that. You know what I mean? And my father didn't do that because of the things he experienced with his father and what he didn't want to be. You know what I'm saying? So, like, these are important things that we don't talk about with family, and they need to be talked about.
Yes. And I think these are the things that we don't talk about in our community. Everybody thinks we just slap on a fez and go, I'm a Moor, you're a Moor. And
and everything's perfect now.
Yeah, and it's like, no, dude, I am hurting, okay? My mind is not processing properly because my nervous system is jacked, because I'm a prisoner of war in my own land. And the effects of that, and this brings me to another topic, because when we're talking about this community stuff, and I just want to say this, because this is kind of random, but I was going to do a live about this anyway, because it's kind of in that same vein though, is our so-called European people out there, or anybody who is still on the fence about your Moorish nationality, and you think this is some anti-movement against the European or something like that. It's not that, okay? This is about us. Stop including the European into this, for one. For two, for Europeans who go, hey man, I wasn't a slave owner. My dad wasn't a slave owner. What the heck? What we're trying to say is, we get that, but the institutions and the things that are built now in this land, in this country, are the direct result of your bloodline, taken from us. So you're not giving back your Harvard degree. You're not giving back the fact that you were able to grow up in a certain type of privilege because of the things that your grandpa's grandpa did. All right. If I come and take $1 million from somebody, and my family eats good, and your family's broke, and then 3 generations later, we're looking at you guys crazy because we made good investments, and then we're still broke, and I look at you guys going, hey, that's our money. That's all that Moors or so-called black people are trying to say, in a sense, is that, hey, I know you're not the one who took the money, but you benefited from the money.
So can I add to that?
Yeah.
I would word it like this. Yes, your ancestors may not have enslaved my people, but guess what? You support the system that is controlled by the peoples whose ancestors did enslave my people.
Exactly.
By paying taxes to them, by participating in their fraudulent voting system, by paying excise car tax, by paying a property tax, by paying income tax, you're funding them to continue to oppress my people.
Yes.
So yes, you may not have slaves, but you're contributing to the prison industrial complex that keeps my people in jail. You're contributing to the military industrial complex that continues to oppress my people across the globe.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like you're a cop, which is continuing in the prison industrial complex against my people. You're a politician that's continuing in the prison industrial complex against my people. You're the CEO of, Whole Foods, as an example, who directly benefits from the prison industrial complex because that prisoners, slaughter cows for their meat. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So there's other ways that these people who didn't have contributing to our current status of slavery. You get what I'm saying?
Yes. Oh yes.
It's deep. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you might not be a slave owner, but you're the chief of police who's defending the police officers murdering my people.
Oh, for sure.
Or you're
didn't
his
have
cousin
slaves.
or whatever,
Yeah, you're benefiting off the slavery. let's
Yes.
be real. All these industry are kind of derived from the so-called slave industry. You know what I mean? And I had a European the other day. He came, European telling you the truth, just like the prophet said. And he's like, I was blown away when I found out. I'm sorry to use this voice, but that cops,
that's how he sounds sometimes.
Yeah, that cops were originally slave catchers. I did not know that. And I was like, oh yeah. I mean, that's the whole premise. You know what I'm saying? And so now when we saying F the police, it's not the guy running out here who thinks he's doing a good job. We're saying F the idea of that.
F the foundation
idea
that it was found on.
Yes. Yes.
And
apple don't fall too far from the tree. Exactly.
Because,
go ahead.
As an example, Christian Black Codes of 1724, which was what the slave catchers enforced, specified that slaves, hold on, I'm filling up a thing of water. Slaves can't have any weapons or blunt objects unless they have a badge or permission for their masters, right?
Yes.
And then when you read most state laws, it basically says no one can have a gun unless they have a permit or a license, which is permission, or they're law enforcement or military.
Yeah. What about the Second
Amendment? It's
Amendment?
the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing. And the same way that the slave catchers would arrest a slave if he had a gun is the same way that the cops will arrest a so-called black man with a dangerous weapon. Even though he's not even doing anything with that weapon. It's not even a weapon. He just has a gun on him.
Yeah.
But since he has one without permission from the master, meaning license from the state, or without a badge, meaning he's not a cop or an agent of the state, he's going to jail, which is exactly what the Christian Black Codes is.
Oh, for sure. Sorry, my phone was about to die, but I got it plugged in. It's such a joke. I mean, you can dispel this stuff. I don't know. I did a live last night, and I was just going through the Black's Law Dictionary, and everything that we need to know is right here in front of us. It's right here. Oh, it kicked them. It's right here, right in front of our noses. Our problem is, even when we present it, even when we present it, they act like we're talking crazy talk. Hold on, let me see. President Moore, send request. All right, can y'all still? All right, he's coming back on.
I told you.
Yeah,
it's gonna do it a few more times.
Yeah. It's all good, man. We rocking. But with the gun thing. Now, there's got to be a critical mass. There has to be a critical mass. And I feel like the shift is definitely in effect or whatever. What is that thing? What is that thing where we go into court and you literally say, hey, Second Amendment says I can have a gun or whatever, right to bear arms.
Yeah.
What is that? I mean, is it that it's so simple and it's so plain that it's almost unbelievable?
Yes.
Like, is it, and we know that they know they're deemed to know law and they know better. But with my dealings with some of these judicial people and these de factos, I really do question. I'm like, we kind of have this narrative in the Moorish movement, like they know, but I've been like, they know as a, but some of these low level people, I mean, I think they're some of the most ignorant people that I
You're
could have
absolutely right.
ever imagined. I mean, I'm just not convinced totally that every one of these mother suckers really knows. Like, he knows, but they don't read. They go eat their pork ribs and drink their damn liquor. All, you know, they do all the, you know, they're just regular people just getting a paycheck. Most of them is, you know what I mean?
This is exactly why I said with the Secret Service thing, the guards at the gate don't know what the guards at the door do.
Exactly.
The guards at the door don't know what the guards of the president do. What they know. So the clerks don't know what the armed guards right at the front, you know, near the metal detector, they don't know what they know. The clerks also don't know what the magistrates know, and the magistrates don't necessarily know what the judges know. Just like when you're in the court, the stenographer don't know what the judge knows, and the bailiffs or the armed guards on the inside doesn't know what the judge knows.
Yeah.
But someone in that room knows exactly what you're talking about. And I know that from experience, and I have this recorded on my website, whereas I was speaking to the magistrate, I think it was it Carullo or Ippolito? It was either Carullo or Ippolito. I was speaking to him, and I was talking about the 14th Amendment and how you know, there's no legal technical signification to the phrase colored person, which the courts are bound judicially to know.
Yeah.
And he referenced how, well, that was in reference to the Dred Scott decision. And basically at the end of the video, you'll hear him say, my historical accuracy is true. But he never said my legal information was false. You know what I'm saying? And law and history go together.
Go
so
hand in hand, exactly.
If you're saying that historically I'm accurate, then you're also saying legally I'm accurate.
Yeah.
So they'll say things like that prove that you know. And another instance was when I was in, so I visited the retired Chief Justice of the Rhode Island Supreme and Superior Court, Frank J. Williams, and he signed my Black's Law Dictionary. It was Julissa, Moreno Bey, and myself in his chambers, and he had a bunch of books on Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
And so Juju asked him about, so, you know, there's like the way Juju, she did it was she just finessed the whole game.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She said, I forgot how she worded it, but she basically said there's this, you know, conjecture about whether or not the 14th Amendment is constitutional or not. Like, what do you think? And he said, well, I would have to favor that it is constitutional, which means he knows that there's information out there specifying that it's not constitutional.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have to.
Especially if he studies, because he's written several books on Abraham Lincoln, and he's donated a bunch of like artifacts and books related to Abraham Lincoln to like some university. So he's known out here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's more proof that he knows what the hell's going on. And you'll see in the picture, I have my fez on. Moreno Bey had his fez on. And he said, you know, I've seen a lot of those fezes in Egypt. Like just saying shit that
he just playing games. He playing games.
Not even playing games. It's like I know stuff. You know, like this is me as him speaking. Like I know stuff and I know you know stuff, so we're just gonna have a regular conversation because I'm kind of seeing how deep you know what I think you know. Yeah. So it's not really a game. It's intellectual like banter or like I just want to see if you really know why you're wearing that fez because I know why you're wearing it. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't see it as disrespect. I seen it as you're reaffirming what I already know that you motherfuckers know. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I didn't take no shade or slight to it at all. And when he signed the book, he signed my book. You know, goodwill and justice for everybody. Like okay, cool. Even though I know you're exercising jurisdiction over my people that you don't have, but you do have it because my people are getting your attorneys to represent them and they're waiving their rights. Yeah. So I'm gonna respect you to that degree because I also know the game and I know my people are acquiescing and they're agreeing and they're verbally consenting and they're signing and they're just agreeing to the entire process.
Oh, and bottom line is we can get mad like I tell Moors all the time. You can get mad at the European all you want. That guy, whoever this justice is, he's taking somebody's oath, okay? Let's be real. He's probably taking some oath somewhere to get to where he's at. And it's not his job to tell us who we are. Exactly. He's not going to do that because he can't.
Nobody can.
He has to tell you. So he can't tell us who we are. He can't redeem us.
Only our people can tell us who we are.
Exactly.
The prophet already told us.
That's what I'm saying.
Because we have the right to self-determination. So just like they shouldn't have called us black, They can't call us anything besides what we identify as.
Yep. Talking about,
Just
man,
like
black
just
people
like
don't get no justice.
just
Okay.
like you can't go to Okinawa and start identifying them as anything but Okinawan. They will tell you themselves that they prefer to be identified as Okinawan over Japanese. So you can't even go there and call them Japanese because they confess out of their own mouths who they are.
Yeah.
So when we go to court and we say I'm black, I'm colored, and we just sign and agree to everything, we can't really get mad at them because our people are agreeing.
Yep.
And the Europeans can prove it.
Yeah.
Then you sign this? All right, then so what you mad for?
Yep. And what do they call that? Mens rea? When you have a guilty conscience, guilty mind. So when you're riding around here and you think you want to travel, and let's just even talk spiritual law, you think you're ready to travel and you slap on your Moorish tags and all this, and you're riding around scared as all get out, you have a guilty mind. So don't be confused when situations kind of might pop up on you. You know what I mean? Because, in a weird kind of way, you're asking for these kind of things. So just walk bold, be courageous. Moors are fearless and upright. All right?
There's also, I don't think I've shared this publicly. I'm pretty sure.
I'm dropping the jewels on me, baby.
But yeah. Because I like the fact that you appear to be a good father. Like that makes me happy.
Hey, yeah.
Even though I'm not related to you, you know what I mean? Like nothing like that. But I see the importance of that in the nation and on your children. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
So I'm giving you the inside scoop. But anyway, there's also spiritual court where these judges will have court with you on the spiritual level. And I've experienced that multiple times, you know what I mean? And they know. Like I'll just share one story because it's there's just going to be people that don't understand what I'm saying to them. Yeah. Because it's a high level of it's a high degree within more science. But so when they smashed in my window, it appears on camera that the guy was rough with me. He wasn't. He smashed the window. He reached real fast, but when he grabbed me, he was very gentle. They put me in the front seat. I was relating to him. I found out that his birthday is the same birthday as my mom. He was with another police department the same amount of time I was in the military. He transferred to the current police department that he was in when he arrested me the same day I got out. You know what I mean? So we were relating on a personal level, and he didn't like that. So when I was brought to the station, I said, what am I here for? And they said, because you were speeding. And I said, well, he was going 90 miles an hour to bring me here, so he should be in cuffs too. And I was just being a smart ass. I was being sarcastic because I'm the party who's quote unquote losing right now because there's more of you. I'm in chains. I'm in your house. But I'm still gonna mess with you mentally because I know you're stupid because I was in the military with people
when I went to jail.
Like So long story short, they're saying, oh, you're facing, your bail's about to be $10,000 for all these crimes you committed. So I looked them in the eyes and I said, no one's paying that. They said, okay. And then they put me in a cell for like 4 hours. So while I was in the cell, I was meditating. I sat down Indian style or crisscross applesauce, what we say in the military. I don't know where that came from. But, crisscross applesauce. And I'm saying the Moorish American prayer, Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my guide, my protector, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, no Withdrawal. And I just kept repeating it because I know I'm in a situation I don't want to be in. I'm in a situation I shouldn't be in, but I'm not going to allow my thoughts to make it worse because I understand isolation is a tactic of torture. Yes. So I understand that they expect me to be a Negro who can't handle his own minds because most of our people, they do so many drugs, whether it be smoking, alcohol, or the overindulgence of sex, or the overindulgence of watching TV, or the overindulgence of any type of mental stimulation. Yes. So I understand I control this, nobody else. Yes. So I was doing my prayer to let me calm down. Let me get to where I need to be mentally so that way I can be in this cell for a year if I need to be. Yes. So I ended up laying down and leaving. I was projecting. I don't know where I was projecting to, but I was just projecting. And I remember, like in Doctor Strange, how when the master touched his forehead and his body was wet or whatever. Yeah. And, he switched to the scene of him in the chair. Yes. My spirit went to court. And the same thing that they do in court, they called the case number, they called my name, and there was a judge in the spiritual realm with me, and we were arguing. And I put this on my life. Once it was over, the captain or whoever was in charge, the officer of the day, it was nighttime, but the officer of the day in charge came to my cell and said, since you are cooperating, meanwhile my physical body's in the cell not doing anything. But he says, since you're cooperating, we're gonna lower the bail to $500. And all you gotta do is get fingerprinted and we'll let you go. And I was arguing like, I'm not giving you my fingerprints. Not doing it. And he just kept repeating the same thing over and over again. So then I remembered what Taj said. They're gonna give you a way out. You just have to take it. So I said, okay, sign everything TDC. Never heard from that situation ever again. I wrote letters the next day specifying how they don't have jurisdiction and enforcing the treaty. And then I wrote letters to the bank and the car dealership notifying them that their police have their car, which means I'm no longer liable for payments. Contact the chief of police. And that was it. That was the end of that.
Wow. Now that's
when a lot of people ask me, you know, what's going on with that case, they're not going to understand because they're looking for something physical. They're looking for, oh, did you get the car back? Did you get the car back? What are you talking about? It wasn't my car to begin with. I had certificate of title, not the actual title.
Yes.
These contracts with them aren't real.
That's so very true.
So they take physical things because they know our people are so attached to this physical realm that once you take their physical stuff, you mess with their spirit because our people aren't spiritually who they're supposed to be.
Exactly. And don't you know, and I'm sure now you have a mode of conveyance or a way to get around. That's the whole point anyway.
And
so
I
now
purchased
you have
it
that
from the buyer, from the owner, instead of a dealership.
Yeah.
So now I'm not making payments. I don't owe nobody. It's mine. In Elodium, I have the title.
Yep.
So even if they did pull me over, even if they did tow it, I would still go to the tow place and they would have to give it to me because I have the title.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, well, you have to prove that you're the licensed driver for this vehicle. Nah, here's my title, bitch. And they have to give it to you.
And you know what? That goes into one of my favorite messages. Moors, when you want to use this law, raise your vibration, clear your mind, leave the nigga alone as much as possible if you want this to go, because there's something called Hermetic principles. All right? These are the immutable, unchangeable laws of the universe. When you, I'm not even going to say master them, you attempt to practice them, guaranteeing you that your vibration will go up and your law prowess will go up, because who is a man to profess he knows the laws of man and doesn't know the laws of his creator, doesn't know the laws of Allah? But you out here with this case and that case going like this and telling this judge off. But do you live by the laws of the universe? I mean, that's where it starts. Why are we going all low level with it, thinking you can each? And I'm sorry, I'm like El Haj, Malik El Shabazz, man. You can't be a pork eater on Monday and be winning in court. You know what I'm saying? Your whole life, man. And I'm saying, because these things are not conducive to your body. They're not conducive to your vibration. You know, the smoking and drinking and carrying on in excess is going to make you not much of a player out here in this law sense. So really tap into saying, hey, let me assess my life on a higher plane if I want the lower to work out for me. Because everything that's happening here in the physical happens from the spiritual. All right? You thought it. Whether you like to admit it or want to know it or not, you thought it before it happened to you. And we got to be responsible for our minds. All right, first and foremost. So that's very good, because I'm with you on that, man. We probably go for blow on stories of weird happenings. That reminded me a lot of what Asir the Duke of Tears, he talked about some years ago, how he went to court and shut it down. He took it in a pendulum and he was spinning it, and he had the judge spitting up and slurring his words and talking all weird and stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's different things you can do out here, y'all, but get the understanding of self first. Once you do, and that's why nationality is so important. This is why the Moors try to tell you, everybody, about nationality or whatever. It's our divine instruction for one, you know, from our prophet, but it is the way to imbue the ancestral energies that will unlock channels within yourself that will allow you access to what's yours and what you lost. You just got to work on the sincerity part. You know what I'm saying? And being real about this thing. And that's pretty much where I'm at with it. So yeah, thank you for sharing that story, my brother, for real.
Yeah, it's the first time I shared it publicly.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man, because people need to hear that stuff. They need to know that. I mean, I've come out of my body many times. You know what I'm saying? That's where I lost the fear of death, because I looked at my body laying there while I'm running around doing other stuff, and I'm like, okay, obviously the body is not necessary to live. It's on all levels, okay? We're as above, so below. So if you have spiritual court, you know
And
what I'm saying?
You.
If you got spiritual court, then that is a very real thing, and I can very much dig that, because, dude, this is all a spiritual war. Shout out to Prodigy, man. May he rest in peace. That's one of my favorite dance songs.
I want to add, there was a European magistrate. Her name is Karine. What's her name? Maureen or? So I can't remember her name. But the first few times I was before her, she was basically acting like I didn't know what I was talking about. Then she recently sent me something in the letter to give her a memorandum of the status of the case right now before they try to bring it to trial. So I mailed it to the court, but I also mailed it to her house, meaning where she lives, where she lays her head and rests and is at peace and feels protected. I mailed it to her house, and I addressed it to, I put a European colonial, and I put judge in quotation marks, and then I just put her first name and her last name. And then when I went to court for my next special appearance, her entire energy was different. She was entirely respecting who I was. And I didn't threaten her. I just sent her the memorandum of the status of the case. But now that she knows that I know where she lives, so if anything happens, I know exactly who to sue, and I know where you live, and I know where to do some paperwork. It's a little different. It's a different energy now, because now she knows, oh, I'm not a nigger. Never was, never have been, never will be. You will be held accountable for your actions.
Yes.
And I was telling Juju, the way she was treating me was a complete 180, like completely the total opposite.
Oh yeah. She better know what's up, because
her spirit felt that. She's like, oh, he knows where I live. Oh, okay.
Yes. I definitely use that tactic, y'all out there who are listening, because the brother dropped some jewels, because I've used this tactic in a case that I got dismissed, or at least a no action on. Is that the judge, when these judges and magistrates and all that, look them up. It's really not that hard to find out about these people's information, who they are,
where they live.
I had a so-called
their relatives.
If they're relatives, what kind of cars they have. I mean, you can find this stuff out. And this guy, I found out he had a DUI. So I simply did a let's just say a meditation and a ritual that was centered around sending him a let's say telepathic message to let him know that I know he has no right to judge me, because he rides around drunk, getting pulled over and getting charged for drinking and driving. How are you going to judge me when you're not even being a good member of the so-called society or whatnot? And so when I did this meditation, I looked up his information. I read it. I took it into myself, and I meditated, and I put it in the ethers. Shortly after that, after they had been threatening me for about 3 correspondences of letters, invitations, the 4th one, they sent me a dismissal, threatening that if I didn't come in, a warrant may be issued for your arrest, and blah, blah, blah. They did that about 2 times with those kind of threats. They changed the courtroom. They did all this once I showed competence, because I challenged jurisdiction. And then all of a sudden, oh, well, we'll take no action. And he handed the case off to be signed by a different magistrate. He didn't even know what to do with it. And all I did was mentally project. I looked at his flaws, and I threw them out there.
I've been before about 7 magistrates, and I have all of their addresses.
Right. That's right.
Because they keep just bouncing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like literally, I know I got them in a box when they start to say, "Well, I'm not going to be the trial judge on this issue, so bring it up with that person," because they already know they have to do something, but they're not going to. So they keep passing the buck. You know what I mean? Until eventually, they either have to violate my rights publicly because this is a public case, or they're gonna have to dismiss it publicly. And if they dismiss it publicly, they're gonna try to save face. So they're probably gonna say, you know, they either can't sustain burden of proof, or it's gonna be no low prosecute, or it's gonna be under Rule 48, where they're gonna say that they can bring it up at a later date, which is double jeopardy, basically. You know, there's multiple avenues that they have to weasel their way out of it without having to admit that I was right the entire time.
Yes.
Or they can just prolong it and never take action.
And
just leave it open.
Let it float.
Which is the same thing as a victory.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But most Moors are going to be waiting for, oh, I need to see dismissal. Oh, I need to see dismissal, because you can't even see that if this was a real case, I would have been in jail already. They would have already prosecuted me. They would have already, this would have already happened. Yeah. But it's been over a year. Yeah. When have you ever heard of a dark-skinned person who allegedly assaulted state troopers and allegedly resisted arrest and allegedly obstructed a police officer from serving a warrant and struck several police officers? When have you heard of that person being free? When have you heard that case going on for over a year without even going to trial yet? Yeah, Pookie Johnson don't get that. Yeah, when have you ever heard it? You haven't heard of that. Pookie Johnson don't get that privilege, y'all. Exactly. Yeah, for sure. So as long as I'm physically out here free, I won. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, their goal is to just have this thing pending over my head to the point where I feel so much pressure that I break down and I just can't be a Moorish American anymore, and I can't do it. And like, nah, bro. You trained me through your United States Marine Corps to go through your crucible. You prepared me for this. Yeah. It's not my fault it's biting you in the ass. Man, growing up thinking you're black, or so-called being assumed to be a black man in America, is the training. That's all the training you need. That's why we're trying to get other people on board. Yeah. Y'all need to come on, man. Y'all done been through the crucible. Why don't y'all get to the winning side? Yep. That's the real deal, man. Shoot, you know, most of us done played football and sports and then ran till we thought we was gonna puke and all this kind of stuff. We all done that. Let's let's take that experience, let's take that strength, and let's apply it to something that is real. I mean, I don't understand the mindset of a people who will literally see court dismissals. They'll see you out here free, and then they'll be like, man, and let's not even get into the historical facts. Let's not get into the real deal where we're just talking about, hey, look, man, here's what I can show you. Go to we can just talk about how they're not even gun charges. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, like, let's be serious. Come on, man. But we still, I don't know, it's DNA, the same who were with the Prophet 2,000 years ago or with him today. I understand that. But, man, please, y'all, please, find out about your nationality and birthrights who you're not. Those who know, start standing up. Start getting your community organized. I don't care if it's you and three dudes sitting in a moist basement going over some, I don't know, I said moist basement. I got this picture in my head like some rusty basement or whatever with one light. But if that's what it takes, man, you know, just do that, because what you're doing is you're emitting a frequency that's going to join the collective, and it's going to move some things around. Remember, things happen on the spiritual plane. Well, they say crap rolls downhill, man. So get it started, y'all. Get it started. Get with good brothers like Jahmal. Get with good brothers like Canaan Land Moors, Cujo L. Get your historical facts together. You know what I'm saying? Asir the Duke of Tears is a good brother that I go to for that kind of stuff. Go to your local used bookstores and find some jewels up in there. Man, we can do this. We are doing this. All we have to do is read and know what reading means. Get with your bro, Taj Tariq Bey. You need to know what reading is. All right, 90% of us we don't read. We can't read. You think because you're reading a line that you can read? That's not reading. All right, so you're just pronouncing things.
Yeah, you're pronouncing
parrots
stuff.
can do that.
Yes. So, you know, little children can do that. So we have to go into these organization tactics, because that was my whole goal with this lives and getting with the brother, was trying to say, hey, look, we got to keep the infiltrators out, and we have to organize. And if you can take Rise of the Moors as a good example, and you want to get with the brother, and if he has time and he can help you maybe, or if you can get with me, we can work on just baseline things that we need to do to just organize. Because if we can start to pull it together, it's going to start taking shape. All right? Sincere people are going to obviously find their way, their path in this movement, because that's what's happening in the ethers right now. You know, when the prophet left from this plane, he said, I'm going to another plane and do my work there. So stuff rolls downhill, man. It's popping. It's popping. I just want y'all to not be afraid to be who you are. Study, study, study.
Can I share another story about us in court? And there's about 3 or 4 videos. Well, it's really audio because the phones were in our pockets. A video of myself, my wife, and Moreno Bey in court. And in one of the videos, Moreno Bey said that he's going to defend himself even if that requires bloodshed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure that was the magistrate Ippolito held him in contempt of court for threatening the court. So the magistrate held him in contempt for 6 months. 10 minutes later,
wow,
they bring Moreno Bey back into the room. They play the record, and he didn't threaten the court. He said, and then Moreno, and you'll hear it on the video, Moreno said, I talked about defending myself up to the point of shedding my own blood. That's what I said. And we all left the courtroom that day. So, like, if that's not proof that ain't no black person saying that in court, and then they're going to bring him back to the court to really hear the record, that's not happening. Yeah. That's not. When has that ever happened? No. It ain't happening to no. It ain't happening.
They file them. They flip them like burgers at McDonald's, man. When y'all go to court, talking about you or more, bet you go last. Yep. Bet you go last. I've always went last. I'm always the last guy in court. Stenographer taking their earphones out. Yep. So they do it dirty here. They won't put it on record. Yeah. They'll just she takes her things off, and everybody just kind of stands around and okay. So there was
another situation where a Morg was arrested, and it was state court, and he basically identified me as counsel. So I stood up and I specified how the judge was violating international law, violating the treaty, all this good stuff. Yeah. And then about 20 guards, and Kendra was there. So was her son. So you can cross-reference and ask her to make sure I'm not lying. I was just standing there, and about 20 guards came in from the front and the back of me, and they were falling over each other to try to arrest me, to hold me in contempt. Wow. But the judge never said anything. When I opened up my mouth, the guards told me to be quiet. The judge never said anything, because he can't say anything. Because if he says anything in response to what I'm saying, he would have to admit that he is violating the law. So he just stayed quiet. He exercised his Fifth Amendment right to shut up. So anyway, the guards arrested me. I'm in a suit with a fez on, right? So they bring me to under the building where the holding cells were, and they told me to take my fez off. I said no, I'm not taking it off. But what I will do is I'll lift it up to show you there's no weapons under here. But I'm never gonna take this off ever again. They said okay. So I lifted it up, showed them there's nothing there, put it back on. Then one of the female guards came in because she heard me being aggressive, like, I'm not taking this fez off. This is religious. Like, you can't tell me to take this off. Yeah. So she said, oh, what's the problem here? What's going on here? And the other guard was saying, well, what's he being charged with? She said, oh, he's being charged with contempt, I think. And I said, you think or you know? And she said, well, I'm gonna go to the judge and find out. And they let me out 10 minutes later. So when have you ever heard any Negro, Black, Colored, Indian, Hispanic, Latino, Native American going to court being held in contempt and being released 10 minutes later on 2 different occasions, myself and
Yeah.
Moreno Bey.
Yeah.
And when I did it, when I was held in contempt and released 10 minutes later, that was like 2019, 2018, and Moreno Bey was last year.
Yeah.
This type of treatment doesn't happen for so-called Negro, Black, colored Indians or Hispanics.
Hey man, I'm telling you what. When Moors go to so-called jail, it's like a whole event. For those who it's never happened to y'all, I'm in the bullpen and I'm pretty much teaching lessons. That's why they don't want us in there anyway.
Yep.
It's because we'll sit up there and we'll start getting people in tune, especially the Moors like Jahmal, and because see the MSCA who works with the prison system. I don't know how you can be a MSDA working with the prison system and not getting your Moors out of jail. I don't understand that. But the Moors like us, we go in there and people are like eating this stuff up. They don't want us in there. Mm-hmm. They don't want us out there. They don't want us in here. They want to kill us, but when you're walking around with a lot of spiritual energy, you're walking around like a damn atomic bomb. So they don't want to assassinate you necessarily. They bit their bullet when they did that to the prophet. They knew impending doom was coming because of that. So it's like, y'all, man. Now
they take assassination very seriously because they know that there's a karmic debt that's coming from
sure.
that's way worse than anything else.
Yeah.
Like they know that, and I was told that. It was told to me spiritually, but it was told like they're gonna be less inclined to assassinate me because of the residual effects of what that's gonna cause for them.
Oh yeah.
Not because they're afraid to do it. I mean, they're definitely not afraid to do it. I don't know if it was an ancestor or if it was Allah talking to me or what it was, but it told me clearly.
Yes.
Don't get it twisted. They're not afraid to do it.
Yeah.
They're just not going to.
Mm-hmm.
Because of specific things like related to karmic debt reasons.
Well, yeah.
I mean, not to say that I'm invincible or nothing like that. Just like if they decide to take that action, it's because they see no other alternative, and they're willing to take on that karmic debt, which is gonna be way worse than me being alive doing what I'm doing.
Oh, for sure. Because, like I said, when you acquire a certain level of knowledge, y'all, you're like an atomic bomb. They got to treat you very, very carefully because they'll martyr you on accident, and then they'll turn your movement or whatever you were about, your message, your frequency, and they'll amplify it to an atomic level. Yeah. And that's the last thing they want. That's why you can't get rid of guys like Prophet Noble Jew Ali, no matter how much you've stuffed and covered. And
that's why they try to tarnish his name first.
Yes. Yeah, and you can't. It's too strong of a vibration. It's too strong. It's pretty much the seal on their doom when they did that. So, stand up and be strong, y'all, because get your knowledge up. And I'm telling you, like they said, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. All right. When you empower your mind, the first plane of everything is mental, and you have a strong one and you are not ignorant, you are garnishing yourself a certain type of spiritual protection that the ignorant just don't have. That's why he said study, study, study. For that reason, and also to keep your mind off low vibrational thoughts. If you're studying, you're usually not thinking about getting into any mischief in this anyway.
Yep.
You dig what I'm saying? So really, really pay attention to the words of Prophet Noble Jew Ali. He really laid out the master plan. And me and my wife were talking about this today. The half has been told. And his brothers like Jahmal, Cujo, Asir. I see my brother Kush Day. And these are just people. I know all y'all Moors out here trying to do your part and however, you can. I just know certain guys or whatever. Keep putting it out there, y'all. Mm-hmm. Please do not. This is not the time for cowards. This is not the time for lukewarm, walking the fence type situations.
Fence straddlers.
Yeah, no fence straddlers. Don't get caught up in that because you get the Shimitar. Just the same as the guy
on both sides.
Yeah.
Nobody likes a crew hopper or whatever.
Oh,
no one likes that.
Oh yeah, you can't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Why would the other side want somebody that's a traitor? Exactly. So you trade for them, and then they're looking at you like, dang, you did that to your own people. What would you do to us? Yeah. That's why once the deal is done, you get your head cut off.
Yep.
All right.
Listen. So also, it's like when Rashad was in jail, they ended up closing the law library because he was bringing too many people there, and too many of our people that were in jail with Rashad were firing their attorneys.
Mm.
So they had to bring Rashad to another jail.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Let's
then
go.
and then they dropped the charges.
Come on, man.
So the alleged violation of probation charge, they dropped that.
Come on, man. Let's go. Can't y'all see? This the wave, man. Y'all out here nay-naying, and I don't know what the cool thing is now like that. This the wave.
Yo, every time I see a dance video on Instagram, I'm like, literally, you're shucking and jiving.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like they want us to just be focused on dance and entertainment.
Yeah.
They don't want us in their courts.
No.
You know, like that's not what they want.
No. They don't
Not
want
even
that.
just in their courts. They don't want us to put a Moor in City Hall. They don't want us to have a Moorish chief of police. They don't want us to have a Moorish mayor. That's exactly what they don't want. So they keep us focused on the crystal wrapped jewelry and the sea moss and the dancing and all this, you know, like not as important stuff. Because I'm not going to say sea moss isn't important. I'm not going to say creative dance isn't important. And I'm not going to say crystal wrapped jewelry isn't important. I'm going to say it's not as important as other things that we should be doing.
Yeah, it's not the priority.
So they would rather, exactly, it's not the priority. It's not high on the priority list. So they would rather keep pushing, you know, just moon charge of crystals. Yeah, do that, but also put someone in office. Yes. And then protect them with that crystal moon energy you just harnessed. Do both. Don't just do one.
Yes.
Sell sea moss and then have your political candidate inform the whole city that sea moss is good for you. Consult with your dietary consultant before you drink it. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways that we can have a larger impact with what we have now. Let me
get some stratagem going then here with you. Let me pick your brain about a tactic then.
Mm-hmm.
We want to get a Moorish politician into office, okay? Now, I know, because the first thing that would come to my head, especially if I was new to this movement, it go, well, how can we be a part of the United States politics system if we're Moors or whatever?
That question alone proves that they haven't studied Prophet Withdrawal because he's in a picture with Louis B. Anderson and Oscar the Priest, and that also tells me that they haven't read The Rights of Indigenous People.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you got that piece. Check out those books. Now here's the second piece. Are you talking in the gist of, because Oscar the Priest, right? As far as I know about him, just with his name alone, I don't know if he claimed a Moorish title or appellation.
So I can prove to you that he did.
Okay.
Using the divine constitution and bylaws that Prophet Withdrawal wrote, he specified that with us, all members must declare their nationality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, there's a picture of Prophet Withdrawal located at 3140 Indiana Avenue, Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah.
In that picture, Oscar the Priest and Louis B. Anderson are about 3 inches away from him.
Yeah, I know that picture.
So that is proof that they had to. They're members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and the first requirement is to declare your nationality. So they had to be declared Moors, especially if they're in a picture that important with a man of that stature.
There you go.
They have to be.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
And in Europeans had to get permission from the Moroccan government to be here. So he's telling you that you're Aboriginal and Indigenous. So by him telling you to elect your own representative to represent your community within government, that's the rights of Indigenous people, where it specifies that Indigenous people have the right to self-govern. And that the states, meaning like as an example, the United States or the state of Rhode Island or whatever state that's party of the UN, right, must recognize the representative that the Indigenous people elect through our own government. Mm-hmm. So by the prophet telling the Moors to elect Anderson at the newspaper at the time, he's exercising the rights of Indigenous people because it's just the right to self-govern.
Yes.
So when we had a representative in City Hall, it made it so that way the government reflects our will. Exactly. When we had Oscar the Priest within Congress, it made sure that the government reflected our will because Oscar the Priest and Louis B. Anderson was our government official. That doesn't mean that that's our government. He's just our government official within their legislation. So like a liaison, or like an ambassador.
Yes.
You know what I mean? While the prophet was getting us to manage our own affairs domestically with the Moorish Temple of America.
Yes, and we can send in political agents, if you will, that we want or that we elect to go do our bidding in the national government.
Exactly.
All right. So I hope y'all caught that. Also, I got an interesting story. It's just random as a mug. I used to work for and Kush knows ComEd, but ComEd is like the big power company up in Chicago or whatever. And I had to start off at the entry level position, the meter reader. And the Moorish Temple in Chicago, I used to have a route with it on my books, and I would walk past this building like once a month and be like, "What the heck is this building?" I just never knew it, and it just goes to show you how something that important can be right in front of your face, and you won't even know. I literally read the meter to the building and didn't know that was the Moorish Science Temple. Just kind of a little awkwardly
hidden in plain sight.
What'd you say?
Was it hidden in plain sight?
It's hidden in plain sight, right there on the street. And I'm looking at I remember distinctly looking at the building. And years later, when I came into the knowledge of self, I was like, I was reading the Moorish Science Temple's meter and didn't even know. And I guess I just say that to see, slow down. A lot of new Moors, see what's in front of your face. Just take a moment, breathe, because most of this stuff is right in front of your nose. If I could, too, a good avenue for people to go on to the Moorish Heritage and History School blog talk that Anaid and Ross Mariah do. You can go on RV Bay, and you can look up the number. And on Tuesdays, they go into nationality principles and like law and stuff like that. And they have the phone number on there. You can call in and listen in and ask questions at the end. And if you have pertinent questions that you really want to get to that we're not answering on here or whatever, because we're just kind of doing what we're doing, go on there and chop it up with the mobile testers, because they will chap your butt. And I needed that because they cussed me out a few times, and I don't mean literally cursed at me, but they like pretty much stood me on my head a few times and were like, "Nah, brother," because I was trying to say, "Hey, man," and they lit me up. But go on there, get this knowledge, humble yourself, all right? Because you can get this. I will tell you that 6 months after I learned that I was a Moor, and my birthrights, my nationality, I beat my first case. Now, I'm not saying that's like for everybody, because I don't know, whatever. I came to a certain understanding or whatever. Not saying that you can't, but what I'm saying is it's not complex. The problem is that we have a European mind that we have to shake off of us. All right?
Yep.
This stuff is not hard.
Yep.
There's nothing that you can't understand. You're more. Your blood is more. You are the creator of law.
The fact that you just said we have a European mind, that has been like one of the topics of discussion in my house for the past few days. Is we have Roman cultures, we have Roman culture, Roman ideals, Roman thoughts. We eat what Rome told us to eat. We watch what Rome told us to watch. We react how Rome told us to react. We have the insecurities that Rome told us to have. We have the egos that Rome told us to have. Like, we have the relationships with our parents that Rome told us to have.
Man, we have sex like Romans.
Yeah, and we have the same desire as Romans because the Romans told us to. Yep. Like, literally everything they taught us, we just have to do the exact opposite of that.
Literally.
Almost everything. Almost everything.
Yeah.
Literally almost everything.
Yeah. That's real talk, man. Real spill, man. Well, brother, I really appreciate you for doing this live with me, man. I'm about to keeps coming in trying to get in on this live with me and bringing me snacks and stuff. But if there's anything that you want to add or say to the people, please, you know what I'm saying, drop that knowledge or that wisdom on us real quick before we close out.
So what I try not to do is I try not to tell people what to do, but like Rise of the Moors as an organization could use help. We could and not help like I want you to pay dues to my organization. I'm talking about help as in we need more leaders that are going to be willing to continue to do what they do, but represent Rise of the Moors as they do it, because where there's unity, there's strength.
Yes.
And if possible, to accept some form of my guidance.
Yeah.
As far as like to help form a Rise of the Moors or temple in your area, and the standard that I'm trying to keep the organization at. You know what I mean? Not to like, the only thing I can relate it to is the military. So I'm not sure how to relate it so people can understand, like,
yeah.
Because I'm not saying let me be in charge of you. I'm saying let me help you help the Moor.
Yeah.
You know, and from there, you know, from the different sheiks of the Rise of the Moors temple, there's going to be convention meetings where all the sheiks come, and we talk about which laws we want to create for our organization. So it's not just going to be me creating laws and people having to abide by it. It's going to be the different temples with their sheiks, either the sheiks themselves or the representatives that the temples elect to represent that specific temple and that specific territory, come to the home office where there's the different representatives and the people that I deem fit to be part of what I call the Grand Majlis. So that way there's like a Senate and a House of Representatives, so that way the Rise of the Moors organization can just reach higher heights. So for those of the Moors who are interested in helping me as far as Rise of the Moors, because I identify as both, because Rise of the Moors wouldn't exist without me, and Rise of the Moors benefits me. You know what I mean? So I identify as both. Sometimes, obviously, I'm not an artificial entity, but you know, it's my organization that I created. So
yes, it is.
I'm asking Moors to be part of it. You know, and there's a vetting process. There's a test that you have to take to ensure that I'm not having, you know, people that are incompetent in charge of anything, because you're just going to misguide people unintentionally. Yes. But like Rise of the Moors is the only organization that's showing people step by step what to do besides just studying. We're showing you what to do after you study, how to apply it. We're putting it on camera. We're you know, we got Moors in Tennessee. We have Moors in Texas. We have Moors in New York. We have Moors in Virginia. You know, that, so we're the only Moors showing you that we're growing still. You know what I mean? Like, so if you want to be part of the best organization since the Prophet, join Rise of the Moors, because the Moorish Temple of America is infiltrated. Rise of the Moors is not.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I'm not talking down on the Moorish Temple of America, because I went there to try to get a charter, because I understand that this is what the Prophet gave us. So I was trying to transition over to more doing things in the name of the Moorish Temple of America. The problem is, since the people want control over people and I can't be controlled, they didn't give me a charter.
Now, so let me venture to say this.
Forced to stay independent. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, I'm down with that, because me and you will talk on the, you know, on the back end or whatever about that, because, you know, I can see situations like treaties between, you know, your organizations and other organizations happening, because, you know, I have a small organization here, and I would definitely like to join the umbrella of the Rise of the Moors and that whole thing. Now, here's the thing. I always thought, what if you took something like Rise of the Moors and you have, I don't know, let's just say it's just 200 of us or something. What if us 200 went to a specific Moorish Science Temple and took it over in the name of...
I wouldn't agree to that, because that's literally infiltration. You know what I mean? Like, those people in that organization have the right to be corrupt within that organization however they see fit. You know what I mean? The Prophet didn't say our salvation is through the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Prophet said our salvation is through the Divine and National Movement. So Rise of the Moors is under that umbrella of the Divine and National Movement. To go into an organization and infiltrate like that, I mean, I can see how it could be beneficial, because, you know, it would be like the Prophet said, you know, new Moors are going to come in and clean up the temple. Yeah. But I don't think Moors are ready for, like, if you study what Abdul Aziz did, what you're talking about is going to take something similar to that because I've seen for myself the type of people who are involved at the high levels of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Like some of them are not going to just willingly step down, if you get what I'm trying to say.
No, I get what you're trying to say. So do you think it would be a situation?
What you're saying is serious.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm radical like that, brother. I'm radical like that. In my mind,
serious scimitar drawing serious.
Yeah. Yeah. Because in my mind, it's like, okay, what if the prophet set up the temple for us, what would stop us from saying, hey, guess what? You got 100 new members. And there might be a temple with 20 people, and they go, what the hell? They can't close the doors on you. We all Moors by birthright. So then it's like kind of like, well, what you gonna do? You gonna deny us membership into the temple? And
well, the only thing I could suggest is if Moors are interested in doing that, they have to read about the man that the prophet put right after him in our Holy Quran. Right after Prophet Noble Draw Ali is Sultan Abdul Ibn Saud or Abdul Aziz, who united Saudi Arabia. And what you're talking about is he did that. That's what so if Moors want to take the temple back, we have to do what he did to some type of degree. Not everything he did, because some of the things he did I don't necessarily agree with. But as far as removing people from the planet because of them being traitors and causing the economic collapse of the country. Yeah. That's how serious this is that we're talking about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But there's a season for everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You feel me? And
absolutely.
And at the end of the day, because what I've ran into is like I dealt with a federal judge who basically was saying, hey, you need to go to the Moorish Science Temple. Like he's telling me how to be a true Moor or something. And he's telling me I need to go to the Moorish Science Temple and that's the way to be a Moor, basically. And so it just strikes me as like so they're hip to the Moorish Science Temple. We know it's been infiltrated. We know there's Freemasons up in that bad boy, kind of administering things or whatever. And we know that if that was going to be the move, it would take some extra, some scimitar dropping. You dig what I'm saying? But I guess the way I look at it is, it's like at the end of the day, I would like to take what the prophet brought and redeem it. Just for the fact that he brought us that. And if it takes some scimitar, it is what it is, because I know that he didn't bring it to us with the intent of it being not de jure or whatever.
Yeah,
and so
to
me, it's kind of almost like a holy I don't know if this is the right term, but like a jihad or something, like where you're like, hey, we got to take back what our prophet set up from these freaking traitors. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what Abdul Aziz did. That's exactly what he did. The prophet just put him in the book because he's the seat of Hagar, the guard of Mecca. Like, look at what this man did. Look at why he did it. Look at who he took it from, and then look at who those people were negotiating with. You know what I mean? Moors have to be serious about this.
Yes,
because this is serious.
It is very, very serious.
Exactly, like the person said, holy war. That's it. Hey, just like Abdul Aziz took back Mecca of the East, what do you think we have to do here?
Yeah, straight up.
Because I've been to Chicago, and their city hall is like a military base.
I lived in Chicago for many years. Yes,
and I'm comparing that to a person who was on several military bases and stationed on a ship. And I'm telling you, Chicago City Hall is a military institution. It's not just coincidence that there's that many people there with guns.
Right.
Like, if you go to City Hall in Providence, there's one guard there.
Yeah.
When I went to Chicago, I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I used to have to read the meter at the FBI headquarters there, and that was a pretty strange ordeal. It was a lot of protocol to go along with that. Yeah, so Chicago's a very highly
There's something
militarized
happening in
place.
Chicago.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
just like
absolutely.
here where I'm at, so-called Fort Wayne. Oh man, boy, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, it's a military college town. It's one of those towns. I didn't know, and I'm just throwing this out here before we get out of here. Fort Wayne has the largest and longest military jet landing strip in the whole nation, in the whole country. So just weird stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. These people, they're setting up. But hey, look, get with Jahmal, Rise of the Moors. We're gonna talk on the back end about some things.
All right.
As it come down the pipeline, because I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time. I'm extremely grateful for some of your time, and I'm grateful for this conversation. And I'll get with you about some things or whatever, and we'll keep this build going, man. And I hope everybody enjoyed. Thank you for checking in with us, man. Do what you can where you're at, y'all.
Wait, someone said save the live. Make sure you save the live. And you post it.
All right. What I got to put it on IGTV?
Yeah. So when you end the video, it'll say post to IGTV, and that saves it basically.
Okay. Cool. I didn't know if there's another step or whatever.
No, it's just because the last time we did it, the way the video ended, it didn't save. So talked about the Moors didn't get to rewatch.
That's true. Okay. Well, man, I'm gonna let you get back to that beautiful baby, man, and your lovely wife. And then I'm gonna go here and go bug mine, and then we'll get back together, man, and we can do this again because I really enjoyed the build, and I know that this is what it takes, and plus a lot more, of course. But I know that this is some of the foundations that are laid, man. So once again, high honors to you, brother Jahmal, Grand Street Jahmal, and high honors to all the active Moors out there, y'all. Y'all have a wonderful night. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. High honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And I'll talk to you later. Check in with you later, man. Islam. Peace.